Hi, travel partners. I hope I'm audible. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We'll soon start, probably in the next 5, 7 minutes. There are a few more agents who are joining us, and we'll begin in the next 5, 7 minutes. Just let us know in the comment if you're audible and visible clearly. I hope you guys are all excited for today's webinar. We have a special guest as well joining from Singapore Tourism Board as well. And again, like if you have any questions around the topic which you see on the screen, just drop in a comment. We'll soon discuss it as well. And again, like we'll start in the next 2, 3 minutes. There are a few agents who have joined us as well who have commented. Hi, sir. I think Hanuman Travels you're speaking from, and there's Dipali's Daily Life and MTT. Hi again. Hi, Prashant, sir. Hi, Prashant, sir. I'm good as well. Hi, Mahesh, sir, for joining. Thanks again for joining, all of you. Uh, yes, we can start for today's webinar. Uh, so today we have Kin Won from Singapore Tourism Board joining us for the webinar. He's just to introduce him, he's the area director for India, South Africa, sorry, South Asia and Africa for Singapore Tourism Board. Uh, he's like he'll share more things with us how Singapore has been evolving and how Singapore would be doing in 2025 and what all we could participate in. Right. So Kinmon, again, welcome again thanks again for joining us. I hope we are audible.
Hi, thank you, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yeah.
you. You're
Okay,
audible.
great.
How are you
Yeah,
doing?
thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me for this session. I'm good. Yeah, I'm very excited to be doing this with TravPlan for the first time, and I hope that we'll be able to share very good content that are useful, or at the same time inspire some travel to Singapore, perhaps even in this year end, not just 2025, because we still have December. Uh,
Correct.
yeah, so I'm just going to quickly cover my presentation in two parts, but I believe before I begin, where I will share my slides, there is a video that we wanted to
Yes, yes,
also
yes.
kick
Sure,
off this session. So if I
sure.
could have the video first, and then I will start sharing my slides right after. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll start with the video right now. Yes, we realized there was no sound in the volume in the video. We'll just give us 1 minute. We'll probably play it again. We'll try once again. Otherwise, we'll start with the slide and probably towards the end of the session, we'll play the video again. Yes. I think we can play it again towards the end of the PPT. Uh, Kin, if you can start with the PPT, you can share your PPT and probably start with the presentation.
Sure. Just give me 1 second. I
Yes.
will get the slideshow shared. Just let me know whether you can see something.
Yes, sure.
Can you see it right now? Just do this. Okay. Mm-hmm. What is on screen right now?
Yes, I can see the screen.
So is it the full slide that we are
Yes.
seeing?
Yeah,
Okay,
full slide, correct.
perfect. So let me just get my video on as well. Okay, here we go. Okay, namaste everyone, and Panakam to friends from the south. So welcome to our very first Singapore Destination Update webinar with ThrivePlan. So I'm Kinbon, or you can call me KB. I'm the area director of the Singapore Tourism Board here in New Delhi. And I've been living in Delhi for over a year now, and I really love promoting Singapore and working with the amazing travel trade community across India. So in this webinar, I'll be giving you firstly a fresh look at Singapore's appeal for the Indian travelers, and then I will get into some details of what's new for 2024. So just give me. Yeah, I thought before I get into the content, I thought it would be good to first share this slide here with our TravClan audience. It shows the Singapore Tourism Board's footprint in India and how our work is currently being distributed. So the STB India team is headed by our regional director, Marcus. His photo and details are right there at the top of the slide. And we operate in two different teams out of Delhi and Mumbai, as you can see. So I head up the Delhi team, and my colleague RJ heads up the Mumbai team. So for engagement with the leisure outbound travel trade, we split geographically between Delhi and Mumbai. Delhi covers the north, east, and northeastern states of India, and Mumbai covers west and south. So we also have a few work streams that are pan-India in nature, such as all the destination branding, social media, PR, essentially the marketing work. These are driven out of STB Mumbai, while the key verticals, business development and engagement in terms of trade, for MICE, for cruise, and for airline partnerships, these are coordinated and centralized in Delhi. So now let me get started. I shall begin by sharing some good news about how Singapore is doing in the India market this year. So last month, we were delighted to welcome our 1 millionth visitor from India, and even more so having achieved this 1 million milestone 2 months ahead of when we did so in 2023. So we believe this underscores our robust tourism rebound and also highlights India's significant role as Singapore's third largest source market for tourists. And STB in India, we are also very heartened to see that Singapore remains a favorite among Indian travelers, as we read in the news every now and then about where Indian travelers love to go. So earlier in the year, we were cited as one of the top choices for summer. And even this month, we saw great interest for Diwali and further year-end travel. And Singapore is recognized as one of the top festive getaways. So I thought it'd be good to reiterate that Singapore's popularity as a destination to a large extent, at least what we believe here, is driven by the excellent connectivity, the air connectivity, and a rich variety of attractions that are attractive to Indian travelers. And on that note, before we capture what's new in 2020, is such a pop.
I think your voice is breaking a bit. Last few sentences were lost. Hey, can I think you are back? You're on mute right now.
Yeah, are we back on track now? I think
Yes,
something
yes,
went
yes.
wrong.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. So if I can move, is the sharing still on?
No, it's off. You have to reshare it again.
Okay, got it. So let me just get back to the sharing thing. There we
Correct.
go.
Now I've started seeing your screen.
All good now?
Yes. Yeah, this is the slide where we lost. Yeah, you can probably start here. Yeah, correct.
Okay. So, well, I was saying that we believe the Singapore's popularity as a destination to a large extent is driven by the excellent connectivity and a rich variety of attractions that are appealing to Indian travelers. So on that note, before we capture what's new in 2025, I think this is a great opportunity for me to first reiterate to our travel trade friends some of the many reasons why Singapore is such a popular holiday destination for so many Indian travelers. And if you're curious about any of the images that you see in the presentation, we have added location tags below them. And we'll be happy to share this deck with through ThriveClan after the webinar, after this show. So let me just move down to this. Now back to why so many Indian travelers go to Singapore. As I mentioned, the excellent connectivity. These are your customers. We know that they love Singapore, and the first reason is simply because how easy it is to get there from different parts of India. So today there are direct flights from 17 cities in India, made possible by 6 airlines, with a flight time of just about 4 to 6 hours. And once you land at the Changi Airport, you could be at your hotel in the city in as little as 20 minutes by car or taxi on a smooth traffic day. Yeah, and that will be most of the time as well. And the next reason I want to quickly highlight, and it's also one that I'm sure everyone already knows, is the strong cultural affinity many Indians feel when visiting Singapore. So this is especially evident in the diverse food offerings, where you can easily find delicious Indian cuisine, as well as the vibrant charm of the cultural pristine Little India, which is very rich in its historical significance, as well as the colors. So touching a bit more on this cultural affinity aspect, we recognize that it's not just South Indians who may find Singapore familiar, because Tamil is one of the 4 official languages being used in Singapore. So our Sikh friends, for example, they would be pleased to know that actually Singapore is also home to many gurudwaras, and one of them is even over 100 years old. And during the Diwali season, Little India lights up very beautifully, as you can see, as it is also one of the major events that's being celebrated in Singapore by the local community, as well as being very popular with tourists. And at the same time, visitors year-round, they can visit several very striking Hindu temples with specific Singapore-related stories of how they came to be. And we often hear from Indian travelers that Singapore is safe, family friendly, and we also recognize that planning a family itinerary is a breeze. There's a perfect mix of attractions like the Night Safari, Universal Studios, Singapore riverboat rides, and even sightseeing as a family in the various colorful precincts. And therefore, we really cherish the family traveler segment at our destination. And earlier this year, we also launched a family playdates campaign to promote family-friendly travel. So this is an exciting initiative that was done in partnership with some of our Singapore stakeholders and a few Indian travel agents. And in parallel, we also ran a social media campaign featuring household names like Manish Paul, Rithvik Danjani, so highlighting the appeal of Singapore for families with young children as well as young adults planning trips with their elderly parents, or what we now call intergenerational travel. Coming to attraction, I'm happy to give more of our beautiful attractions some well-deserved spotlight here. So on this slide, we have Gardens by the Bay, which has been enchanting visitors for about 12 years since it first started. And there's also the Art Science Museum. This is a key highlight of the entire Marina Bay Sands complex. And the last photo that you see right there is the latest outdoor experience on Sentosa Island. It's called Sensoryscape. It links up various parts of Sentosa and allows you to walk from one part to another seamlessly. And it's best done in the evening when some of these lights and lighting effect and the cooler weather sets in. So don't worry if you're having trouble locating them or if you're not familiar with the attractions. So of course, after this, we will work with TravClan to give you all the details that you need or answer any questions that you may have pertaining to the attractions. So this is one more slide on attractions. These are all new additions after the COVID pandemic. So going from left to right, that's Bird Paradise. So many Indian travel agents are still familiar with what was previously called the Jurong Bird Park. So this Bird Paradise has replaced the Jurong Bird Park. It is now in Mandai, located next to the zoo and also next to the very popular Night Safari. So the middle photo that you see is the Museum of Ice Cream. This is actually an American indoor attraction that's very popular in that part of the world and very perfect for Instagram lovers. So the Singapore edition is right here as well in Dempsey Hill, and it's something that many travelers enjoy. And of course, it's really Instagrammable, so you get great pictures in there with the colors. And lastly is Hyperdrive on the third photo that you can see. This is an indoor race car circuit where you can immerse yourself in the world of real life racing. So if you have any further questions about the attractions, we'll be happy to answer them, or we can share details of the contacts, who you can go to, or we can simply just work with TravClan to get the information out. Now on to some of the activities that we thought Indian travelers often find appealing and they enjoy when they travel. So shopping and later eating. So first up is shopping. So many agents in India may remember the Great Singapore Sale. So even when I was younger, it was one of the big things which used to happen in the middle of the year every year. So it's like a shopping festival, a whole range of activities. But in today's e-commerce world, where online shopping is available year-round, Singapore is focusing on showcasing more unique retail experiences that you can only find in Singapore. So there are so many exciting options, so we pick some new highlights. Of course, the first one, if you can see, is Design Orchard. That is done right next to right in the middle of Orchard Road, and that features many local designers. And in the middle is something that we thought was worth highlighting. It's a premium brand, Coach, a lifestyle brand, a fashion brand. So that Poach, when they came to Singapore, they have beautifully localized themselves in a shop house here, with a very engaging programming within. There's a tour, you can get into a workshop, or you can get into a room where you can see how some of the leather goods are made. And on the ground floor, there's a cafe. And finally, that's the chocolate making cafe right on the right-hand side. That's Mr. Bucket. So children especially can customize their own chocolates here. So this is very popular for families with young children. And about food, I don't think I need to get into too much of the story. We are very renowned for the incredible diversity, and for many visitors, food is a major reason to even travel to Singapore. So I won't get into specific restaurants. We can have information about them offline, whether it's veg, non-veg, all the options that we know. And we are currently also updating our repository of veg food guides. As we know, this is something that would appeal and is also in demand by Indian visitors who are planning their trips to Singapore. So meanwhile, you just watch this space. So to wrap up this first part, why we think Singapore appeals to Indian travelers, and we thought it's good to reiterate. I couldn't not mention one of the important aspect, which is cruises. So Singapore is a very vibrant cruise hub. It's home to some prominent cruise lines that are setting sail from here. So two favorites among Indian visitors, Genting Dream from Resorts World Cruises, and of course Royal Caribbean. The current ship that's sailing through spring would be Anthems of the Sea. So there will be another slide later just to show you these are the two upcoming in 2025. And also I will highlight another exciting new cruise option later in the presentation. So meanwhile, this wraps up my first part. I don't think we will be stopping for a break, so I'll just finish quickly into the second part, and if any questions, we can take it right at the end. So this second part is really the takeaway that I hope everyone who dialed in this session would be able to leave the call with. We will focus on what's new in Singapore, and the main point that I hope all of the content will make is that Singapore as a tourist destination, it is always evolving to stay appealing. And that's why we believe it is essential for the Singapore Tourism Board, especially our team here in India, to provide regular updates, more updates, like this webinar, for example, or as much content as we can to highlight new products and experiences that some agents might not be aware of, or some agents might not have kept up with. So on hotels, after the pandemic, we saw a big growth in the number of hotels, the number of properties, and also the total number of rooms. So today we are at about 70,000 rooms across the whole island. And this number comes from over 400 hotels. And there are many new brand options. Some are already internationally known that have just made their first debut footprint in Singapore. Some are already established brands with a twist to their architecture. So like the Pan Pacific here, as you can see in the second photo, this is an award-winning property. There's a dramatic garden in the middle, and the last photo that you can see here is the addition. So this is really upscale, elegant, chic design, already present in multiple cities around the world. So if your customer base is someone who prefers specific hotels that have certain concepts or some global element to it, so these are some of the options that you can consider, or you can recommend them. And even more new hotels here that we have seen. The Standard, Orchard Road, this is quite close to the current Shangri-La. And then we have Pullman Singapore Hill Street, as well as the Raffles Sentosa Resort and Spa. So everyone knows the Raffles Hotel in Singapore, the very old gem that is there, very beautiful and heritage property. So now it has its counterpart in terms of brand on the Sentosa Island. So there's a typo in here. It's not on Orchard Road. So this is actually on Sentosa Island itself. So I come down to new experiences. Firstly, I wanted to highlight two exciting new experiences that are ongoing. One is ongoing, sorry, and the other one is upcoming. So Resorts World Sentosa, where Universal Studios is, that's the bigger integrated resort. So they have introduced Harry Potter's Visions of Magic experience. So this is immersive, very engaging, and great for Harry Potter fans, and even not fans of Harry Potter would enjoy some level of immersive activity and experience when they visit. And this is something that's ongoing right now, and we do urge if you're visiting Singapore, at least in December or even in the next couple of weeks, you could really go and visit this and have a look for yourself. And the other one would be something very exciting. They have done a lot of marketing in the India market over the last few months. That's the big brand Disney. So they do have Disney Cruise now, right now. The product itself is coming onto Singapore. They will be home porting and they will start sailing from Singapore next year. So you might have seen the big advertisement, and some of the deployment details have also been announced. So if you need more details, we can share them with you as well after the call. So this brings me to my point on cruise again. The Singapore cruise port itself lets you explore the rest of Southeast Asia very easily. So you can travel to Thailand, to Phuket, or Bangkok, or even Koh Tao, or the other side would be towards Vietnam. They have exciting itineraries, and everyone is home port and set sail from Singapore at the start and at the end. So of course, from December 2024 to 2025, currently what is already very popular is Royal Caribbean. The new ship that's coming is Anthem of the Seas. Previously, it was Spectrum of the Seas. So Anthem will start sailing. Tickets are already on sale. And if you do like to know, there are some, they do have some GSAs, the B2B players. And then for we can let you know, connect you as well if you need. And then of course we also have Resorts World Cruises. Genting Dream is the ship that they sail. These two are very popular with Indian travelers, and together with Disney, we hope next year will be an exciting year for cruising for the India market. Coming to events, I think needless to say, this is the last quarter of this year. So we had a few events from August all the way till the year end. We had F1 in September, and there was, of course, the Diwali light up. And right now, till the end of the year, there's the Christmas light up in Orchard Road. That has been very popular and very, again, I wouldn't say Instagrammable, but just very good for photos, including Instagram, of course. But if you just like to take many photos around beautiful installations, specific mall decorations, then Orchard Road is the place to be. And Gardens by the Bay also has a Christmas wonderland that has some music, food for you to enjoy in an outdoor setting with your family. So these are some of the events at the end of the year coming. And then there is always a series of pop-up immersive experiences. So we will try to update the trade more regularly of these, because these are usually time-bound. They happen perhaps in a span of 2 to 3 months. They are different IPs from different companies that are being secured. So we do have right now there's Bubble Planet. This will go on till mid of March 2025. So that's in Singapore Expo. It's great for family and friends to have some fun in, very Instagrammable again. Great for creating memories and photos. And the second one will be at the Marina Bay Sands Art Science Museum. So that again is now hosting a very exciting Studio Ghibli exhibition till February for fans of the animation. And finally, there's Singapore Art Week. So that's a series of events, again, at the start of the year. So this may interest art and design fans, but even for the general consumer, Singapore Art Week does have some activities such as the light to night, night to light, or these different facades of building light up and all, which is actually very easy to enjoy as a family or with your friends. I won't get into too much details here. These are all the exciting events tied to festive celebrations. So what is a bit more unique, perhaps, given Singapore's makeup, which is largely Tamil in the Indian aspect of the population. So there's two specific elements here. There's Pongal and there's Thaipusam, which we usually feature every year in our festive events calendar. So Pongal will be in January, and Thaipusam will be in February. So both one is the Harvest Festival and the other one is a Hindu festival. So the Thaipusam is really quite a spectacle. There's road closures and there's firewalking, and it's really very exciting and makes for great photos and overall a very rich experience of Indian culture specific to Singapore right here. And then at the end of March, I think next year, Eid is going to come early. So for Muslim friends who are celebrating, in Singapore, we call it Hari Raya. But I know over here we have the Eid, we call it the Eid Mubarak. So that would also be celebrated in one of the cultural precincts, Kampong Glam, as well. So that will be light up, and the Malay Muslim community in Singapore does value this, and it's also one of the national public holidays and celebrations. So all in all, in a nutshell, the events calendar is very vibrant, and on the tourism board side, we will try our best to keep every party updated. And before I actually end this, I want to just have a quick shout out on two things. One is MICE. I know we have largely touched on leisure, perhaps some package tour kind of segment of customers, and FITs to some extent. But right now Singapore is also a very big business hub. So it's a big MICE hub. And if you're planning any MICE events, or you have agents who, or if you know of agents who are actually looking for MICE event destinations and do want to know what are some of the incentives that Singapore Tourism Board offers to secure meeting and corporate incentive travel groups to Singapore, do let us know. I put down the names here. We have Denzel operating out of Delhi, and also Maisha operating out of Mumbai. So they look after MICE. They are our two key MICE leads. And do go to them if you have any questions on any group travel that are from corporate. And the second point I wanted to touch on is earlier we have done up this MOU. We entered into an MOU with PhonePe to facilitate payment transactions for Indian tourists in Singapore across some of the hotspots. So right now, a lot of this transition is being underway, and we hope that at a given time, as soon as we can, we will be happy to update on which are all the key areas that currently do enjoy PhonePe seamless payment transactions in Singapore. So this is really to make the user experience much better for Indian tourists when they go shopping, eating, or in general just spending money easily without the hassle of the currency exchange. And I spoke many times about us trying to update the travel trade. We have created a WhatsApp channel. So if you could scan these, or you could get it from TravClan as well. Just get yourself registered, subscribe to it, and over time you will get the regular push from us in terms of any content update. And this is perhaps a bit more B2C, but as all of us are also consumers, in addition to being on the B2B nature in this call, I thought it's also good to highlight that we manage our own social media content. So you can see and visit and follow us on Visit Singapore IN. This is a fairly new handle that we have created. There's a Visit Singapore, which is the main one. It's a global account. So you could follow that as well. But in addition, the India one with specific Indian related content will appear only on Visit Singapore IN. So for example, this year, we have activated various exciting projects featuring Bollywood stars. So we have a series of short episodes on YouTube right now with Ananya Pandey. And we also featured some inspiration of one of the famous designers, Rahul Mishra, with his designs worn by Tamana Bhatia, and both have been to Singapore, and we did some content capture with them, and also various short form content by familiar TV personalities. So earlier you've seen your Manish Paul, so that's one of the kind of smaller short form contents that we do from time to time. So these will all be captured in Visit Singapore IN, and you could follow it as well. Yeah, just some admin details here. There's Tourism Information Hub. You can use the link on the left side below. So this will give you some access to useful Singapore visuals. I will give an update on whether the applicability of this right now, as we are undergoing some transition. So just bear with us for Singapore for this Tourism Information Hub. And then in terms of using more visuals for your own promotion, of course, we have shared with TravClan some of the images that we do have. And if you want to help yourself, we also do have some photo shoot images here. So there are high-res images, and there's a download link which we can share across with you upon request. And finally, we have, again, some destination marketing resources. We have a destination content compendium. So this one, currently, we are trying to customize it specifically for the Indian audience. So hopefully by the mid of December, I will be able to share it with TravClan across to all the B2B partners. And then for Wedding Sutra, it is a repository or a directory, if you will, of some of the various it's kind of like a planner, a venue hunting guide. So for the venue hunting organizers looking to stage the big day in Singapore, so Wedding Sutra, this guide, Beginnings Made in Singapore, would be useful. And finally, we have the MICE Meeting Planners Guide. So that one is also very recent, and we are happy to share all of them with the travel trade as well upon request. So on that note, I hope to see everyone in Singapore, whether as a consumer or whether you're going with your groups, or at some point all your customers would be visiting Singapore this year as well as for next year. And in the meantime, these are just some highlights and a snapshot of everything that we could capture at this moment. So along the way, we will continue to update everybody. Thank you.
And thanks, Ken. This was very helpful, I think. And also, like, PhonePe seems very interesting for Indian travelers. I think that collaboration. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes. The
Oh,
PhonePe one was a MOU that we entered earlier this year.
right.
So right now, of course, there was a commitment made for both parties to get to
Yeah.
onboard as many people
Yeah.
as possible. So similar to China, a few years ago, we did one with Alipay, and it has been very successful. And that has also spurred more seamless experiences and a lot of positive feedback from tourists from China, which is actually our one of our top 3 source markets as well, along with India. So right now, this PhonePe initiative is something that we are trying to do in parallel as well, to make sure that we manage to capture the kind of the spend, at the same time also enrich the experience of the visitors.
Got it. Got it. Great. So again, for everybody's reference, we have also shared the link for the STB newsletter on the comments section on YouTube. So you can quickly click on it and sign up as well. You might be able to see that on the comment section in the YouTube. Great. So I have few more questions, Ken, if I may, and probably we'll collect. And again, like if anybody has more questions, they can drop in their questions on the comment section or messages. We'll also ask during the conversation, we can ask those questions as well, right? So just to begin with, like in general with Singapore, probably pre-COVID and currently, apart from obviously the numbers, right? What else has changed, or in terms of how people travel preferences, or how is it evolved now? Like in terms of travel, how is that changed?
Are we talking about in general or
No,
specific
no,
for the
like
India
pre-COVID
market?
and post-COVID, and with respect to Indian market, yes.
Okay, pre-COVID, I would think that we had a good set of years. So if you look specifically at figures from 2016, 17, 18, and 19, it was a good momentum of growth. So it went from 1.2, 1.3, 1.2 to 1.4, where we left off in 2019. And then in 2023, the number went down a little bit because everyone was still recovering. And right now we are rebounding back to the earlier figures, very close already. And but at the same time, we also noticed that for Singapore as a product, we have been doing what Singapore has always been doing, even before the COVID pandemic, which is always renewing and refreshing experiences. So what I've presented as what's new in 2025 is not exactly something that we only just started doing after the pandemic, but it was something that always happens in Singapore. There's always a range of short-term experiences, pop-ups from famous IP brands across the world. And there's always, every year, there's all these evergreen festive celebrations. And what has changed perhaps is that we find the Indian traveler now, post-pandemic, have a lot more options. So previously, I suppose Singapore would come in top 3, but now we have to work a little bit harder to reiterate this point, that the takeaway which I'm trying to drive across is that the products are always evolving. So if you've been to Singapore once, it doesn't mean that you don't return. It's not a one-hit wonder. It's definitely not something that we hope to achieve. And at the same time, we also want to highlight that even the attractions that people have visited, be it the night safari, the zoo, they constantly have different elements as well in terms of their experience development. So right now, if I'm not wrong, Mandai has something, the Mandai Zoo has a Snoopy activation and whatnot. So for someone who perhaps visited the zoo before, even a year ago, or before the COVID pandemic, although it's the same attraction, the experience could be completely different. So I suppose that was what we hope to drive across in the India market today. And we do have to do a lot more of this work now, because there are a lot more options. And of course, some of them is also as perhaps a natural evolution of the economy. So the middle class, more consumption, more holiday takers, more leisure visitors around, and also greater connectivity made possible by the expanding airlines. So Indigo itself, even in this year, has launched so many short haul destinations. So we have now Baku, Tbilisi, Almaty. These are all within easy reach and even faster. So we're not even talking about Dubai or Abu Dhabi. So across the menu has expanded. So from one of the perhaps top 3, which we thought previously was one of the thing that Singapore has enjoyed. Right now, I think we do still want to be the top 3, and we do think that we could be, just that we have to really get the word out again that it is worthwhile of a repeat visit. There's always so many new things. So you either lengthen your stay to enjoy more of it, or you go back maybe consecutively each year for a short break, just to have a completely different itinerary.
Got it. Understood. And also, like, whatever you when you're saying like we were top 2, I had a similar question. So currently in Singapore, with respect to Singapore, like what are the top 10, top 5 actually, top 5 countries which you generally target or which are currently going on? Like India, I don't know where does India stand as well in terms of tourism in Singapore.
It's usually in our top 3, and right now, given the numbers, it is our top 3. If not, then top 5. So it fluctuates around 3 to 5. Then top 2 would be the proximity markets, which is Indonesia. So that is really close. So it's not a apple to apple comparison in that sense, because the flight time is easily 1 hour to 2 hours. So that kind of explains the proximity aspect. So for India and for China, it's always quite close. And for China, it's also one of our top 2 markets. And both are together with Indonesia form our top 3. And of course, then we have Australia as the one within the top 5. So usually it's just around these few markets that we look at. And the rest of Southeast Asia, of course, Malaysia is a default as well. Again, proximity. So there are proximity, and there are the big population economies, or the big economies like India and China. So these will form our, just by number alone, this will just form our big volume drivers. And at the same time, what we are trying to do is to hit the right target audience as well, to make sure that we get the product out in response to the growing audience in India. So we do often get the feedback that the price point of Singapore has changed pre and post COVID. But at the same time, what we would like to highlight is also the value of the experiences, and the experiences itself have also changed, and that together I think should be seen in holistically, and there is still value for money at the end of the day. So if you do if you do visit Singapore, there is still a possibility to have a very rich itinerary. Of course, there's some spending, but again, the value translates to the amount of money spent.
Got it. Got it. And again, extending to what you were saying, there's a lot of competition now for Singapore, let's say, because Baku, Kazakhstan, a lot of countries have opened up as well, right? So with respect to Singapore, how do you currently, and also in future, how do you plan to position it for the Indian customers? So in terms of what is attractive there in Singapore, what is your positioning as Singapore Tourism Board or as Singapore Tourism?
We will continue to promote Singapore in the way that we know appeals most to Indian travelers. To some extent, earlier one of our key advantage, I would say, is the accessibility, the overall connectivity. So we would continue to drive that, and also that will guide us to some extent in terms of our trade work, because if there are 17 cities now with direct flights to Singapore, so obviously that might be the as a start, the lowest hanging fruit that you can harvest. But also we recognize very rich segments in tier 2, tier 3, and even some of the tier 4 cities. So these are areas that we want to continue penetrating in terms of these markets to really capture the right audience. So that's what we will continue to do. And as for the tier 1 metros, I think we will continue to promote Singapore the way we have done, but at the same time, we want to really highlight the various aspects that we feel that is great value for money, notwithstanding the differences in the price points, and also perhaps the perceived cheaper options out there. So it's really about bringing out the value to the consumers of this product, and not actually getting into a price war by making packages cheaper, or just finding all the lowest the cheapest options and compiling them together. That's not the direction that we hope to do. We want to go. But what we hope to do is really to get the right mix of products out, and that would make people feel that the money they spend, not although it's higher, is really worth it. So that's one aspect of the kind of marketing and the kind of messaging that we want to get across to the Indian audience over time. Granted that price is not something that the tourism board has control over, but what we do have control over is how we get the audience in our target markets or target segments to appreciate the product better, and to appreciate the product in more dimensions than beyond just price alone. And that's how we will do so. And for the tier 2 and tier 3, of course, we will also hope to capture the right segments. Whether there's direct flight connection is one thing, but we do want to at least capture the right segments, perhaps through the right travel agents, with the customer segments that are aligned with the product. Then we'll be happy to discuss further to see how we can even work together on some joint marketing efforts.
Got it. Also, I think I had also written it for myself, plus you had covered that in the presentation. They're doing a lot of F1 being one of them. Around Diwali, you have some event as well, right? So, like two parts to this question. So, how, like, I'm sure tourism is at its peak during these days, right? But at the same time, it's a struggle also because you end up not getting hotels, especially when you already have something planned on those dates, right? But not everybody is probably might be an F1 fan, right? But it's still filled with F1, right? And there are a lot of musical events and all of that which keeps on happening, right? So currently, how is it contributing to it, and or is it negatively also affecting it, or is it okay? Because as Indian customers, like we struggle, right? Because you end up not getting a because the hotel prices are at its peak, right? It's very difficult to get some get things booked during that time as well.
Yeah, for F1 period, there's always the issue of the hotel peaks. So, in general, if I recall, for perhaps some of the MICE events, during the F1 period, I think as a start, those MICE groups are already keeping clear of that part of the calendar, just so that they won't be taking group bookings during that time. And also from an infrastructure point of view, some of the roads will be closed in the city. So even if you do manage to get any hotels in the city, there might be some inconveniences. So for F1, actually, we are happy to always see that the take up for the hotels are still pretty strong, and perhaps largely driven by the fans and also some of the corporates who take up some of the suites for their personal hosting, their B2B networking events. Given that Singapore is also a hub or a central business city for many professional services, so F1 actually becomes like a great platform for many businesses that are also in Singapore to leverage and host their clients. So in terms of the hotel, those are being taken up. And if we could give our Indian travelers advance notice, we would of course share that this is a reality of the event. But if you really do want to visit, then the F1 pass, in fact, the whole 3 days does give you a very unique experience of the city because the entire city area is closed up. So you might get a hotel that is perhaps outside of the city center, away from the circuit, and not be paying that kind of price. But the 3 days with the F1 pass, it does give a very interesting experience of the city because the whole central civic area is closed up. You can walk around, there's car free, and there are entertainment concerts at night as well for 3 nights in a row. So there are different acts, and they are usually by the global A-listers. Especially on the Sunday itself. It's usually a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So anything if one can avoid that weekend, not being a fan and want to avoid hotel rooms, then just that one weekend. So it's not that big an issue to your question. Yeah. But as for the other events, I think not too much an issue also. There's currently about 70,000 room stock and a few more to come on stream. So we don't foresee a problem. It's just some hotels in the city within the circuit with perhaps the full view, they will be able to enjoy the F1 experience directly. Those are the ones with the tariffs, and those are the ones that will be charged. Will also be charging their customers a lot more, and there will be other options as well. But if one really wants to avoid the entire experience, then is that one weekend to not go. Although, as the tourism board and F1 is one of our key events, I will encourage
Yeah,
everyone to still go. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. Great. I see that few people have started posting few questions as well. So I'll urge everybody to put few more questions so that we can pick it up as we speak. And also, like, so one of the questions which one of the travel partners asked us was, so we saw even in your PPT, we saw a few B2C campaigns which you have done with Ananya Pandey and few others as well, right? So are there more things planned as well? Because in general, it helps the agent community because the customers are very much knows Singapore and they aspire to go there. Again, it comes like it gets easier for the agent as well, right? So are there more campaigns or more things which Singapore Tourism Board is doing in terms of promoting within the customer base as well?
On the marketing front, right now, a lot of our content for 2025 are still under review because, as you know, there's contracts and there's negotiations and there's multiple players involved. So I can't share too much of the upcoming campaigns just yet, just in case things don't pan out as expected. But what I can share is that we are trying to get perhaps we are trying to generate a certain set of content that we believe could resonate with our target audience in more meaningful ways, perhaps getting specific well-known personalities to come on to be an advocate, not in the traditional marketing sense, like how certain destinations just get a Bollywood celebrity to be an ambassador and to come on board with to create some key visuals and over a certain time period that can be used. So we might not be going that route, but we are, as a matured destination in the Indian market, we currently are not competing as much, perhaps for awareness, if I may speak freely in this sense, but more perhaps for just to see what is the value in the destination to capture the mind share in perhaps a deeper way in the Indian audience. But of course, for the younger audience who just got their passport and are able to travel, that aspect we will continue with what we call perhaps an air cover or sort of always on influencer marketing. So that will give us the reach, the broad-based reach to a mass audience. But in terms of more meaningful content, we currently are still reviewing the bigger pieces. So again, I can't share too much, but what we have done this year is we can say have given us some good returns. The views and in terms of all the marketing metrics that we can see are all very healthy and positive. But then the question remains whether this celebrity endorsement route is still something that we would take, or perhaps we want to go a different route that engages the audience in a different and more meaningful way. Also using selected personalities that are very familiar with the Indian audience, or perhaps with certain segments of the Indian audience, and these are the segments that we actually want to address anyway. So that is something that we are currently still deciding as a team for 2025. Yeah, I do understand. End of the day, we would still like to have content that our travel agents in India could use. And for that, I think if we could continue to work with the travel agents, perhaps to even co-invest in influencer marketing, that is something that we hope to take even further next year. In fact, this year we have launched some joint marketing partnerships. For the first time, we have put influencer marketing as one of the deliverables in the marketing partnership or in the contract for both parties. So it's a co-investment. Then to some extent, the travel agent or the OTA could have some say in the content as well. So there will be some product placement, some branding for the influencer. And on our end, what we really want is specific aspects of the destination being showcased. So this actually will give both parties some say in how the promotion is being done, as opposed to just the tourism board selecting our set of influencers that may or may not resonate. And then we also not sure whether the travel trade community, especially in the tier 2, 3 cities, will find them user-friendly for their purpose. So this is another direction that we are taking. We can also share more. We do have a roadshow next year in February. We're doing it in Chandigarh, Bangalore, and Mumbai. So we will share more of these New Year's plans, as well as our what our idea on FAM trips are for the travel trade. We do have another program that we are currently designing for FAMs. We will probably be able to share a lot more in February next year.
Great. That's good to hear as well. Again, Mr. Satish has also commented saying Singapore only has 4 or 5 sightseeings. I don't know if that's a question or not, but again, Singapore has a lot of like a bunch of. I think you can easily cover 6, 7 nights very easily. It has enough places to visit, places to see, places to experience actually now. But in extension, there's one more aspect which I want to touch. Cruise is a great extension to Singapore, right? So are there anything new which you have seen people are doing as an extension to covering Singapore, plus doing something which has been coming up or probably come up in the next year or so?
As in whether there are other reasons for extension that we are unaware of
Uh,
by Indian travelers?
no, no. So
Or
cruise, people do it like with Singapore. They do cruise as well currently. So are there more such things which people are doing, let's say Singapore plus Australia? Is there any new trends which you can see which people are covering with Singapore?
yes, so the stopover ratio of our total visitor traffic is always there. So in fact, it is uh, quite a significant section of the total passenger throughput that we experience. But at the same time, the stopover, the transit facility, which is a 96-hour stay in Singapore, that's as good as 2 days, 2 to 3 days without rushing to the airport and back. That itself has gotten quite a lot of traction. In fact, we recently just even had a very short dinner and a quick one venue tour for a group of agents that were actually just headed to Australia. So we've been trying to see how we can work perhaps more so with Singapore Airlines, who is offering most of this transit. They are our natural partner for stopovers as well because they sell a lot of long haul destinations as part of their work with the ticketing agents here in India. And so they are our natural partner in promoting stopovers. And as a tourism board, we do want that part to be as long as possible. So we have been trying to get the word out on the 96-hour visa-free transit facility for Indian travelers who are planning long-haul trips elsewhere through Singapore Airlines or maybe even other airlines. So that part I think has been a trend. So it's nothing new to that end. Just that it's not something that we actively promote in the first priority because we do focus on Singapore as a one-stop holiday destination. But when it comes to stopover, we naturally will work with the airlines. And our campaigns, even last year we had a short camp, or maybe even earlier this year, I can't recall the exact campaign period. We had a holiday before the holiday. That's just the tagline for that. That's essentially a stopover campaign that we try to target. So there's still value for STB in the stopover, and we hope that and again, this is not something that um we will actively promote at the moment, but it's something that we will definitely want to capture the right share of our visitor arrivals and spending as much as possible.
Great. That's pretty much what I had in mind and few what travel partners asked us. And also just to like share it with everyone, we also we are doing a marketing campaign with as Draftland. We're doing a marketing campaign as well with Singapore Tourism Board. So can generally how is it affecting or how is it helping uh, has it made an impact and how is it going as per from your perspective?
So far, from what we can see, it's been very good. The main aim in us entering a partnership with a player like TravClan yourself, the B2B is really to reach out to agents that perhaps other ways. You have seen the map. We are based in Delhi and we are based in Mumbai. We do need a stronger, perhaps partner. We do need a partner who has very strong networks across pan India to let us do our work more productively, efficiently, and with some scalability in mind. And that's what we hope to achieve out of this partnership. And so far, we are quite pleased with what we have done. And I do hope that we can also round up the campaign and the partnership with very good results for us to review and determine some next steps if possible. But again, the aim is really for us to do things more productively and efficiently. Given that we are very lean, we just operate in a team of less than 10 people across 2 cities in India today, and trying to capture the 1 million share and to keep growing it, as well as responding to the fast growing consumer class that's in India right now, in the news every day about the growing middle class, the consumer base is expanding and so on. That as well as the aviation partners also growing. All of these in mind, I think we do really need to think of ways to really reach our travel trade community more efficiently, and I really value the partnership that we have with TravClan to that end.
Great. Thanks again, Kin, for joining us and spending time with us and sharing all these insights from Singapore. Uh, Thanks for all the travel partners as well who joined us today and shared their comments as well. Again, just to answer a few comments which are still there, basically, we as TravClan can help in terms of Singapore as an entire destination, whatever itineraries you want to build or whatever packages you want to build for your customers, we'll be able to help end to end. Plus, including the cruise as well. Somebody checked as to how to book a Disney cruise as well, which is coming up next year. So TravClan would be very easily able to help you out as well in that. You just need to reach out to your account managers. In terms of visa, also few people had questions. So again, the mandates and everything is still the same. But again, TravClan would be able to help us as well. Again, end to end in terms of visa also. Thanks again, Kin. So we'll probably wrap it up.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, the team
Thank
at
you.
TravClan. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.